everyone, welcome back. I'm Miss Lin. It's great to have you here today. In this video, we are going to talk about how to change the subject. Almost everything we do has the opposite. I can put on my coat, or I can take off my coat. I can open the door, or I can close it. I can turn on the light, or I can turn off the light. In maths, operations also have its opposite. We call it the inverse operation. We can add something, we can also subtract something. So addition and subtraction are inverse operation. Similarly, multiplication and division are inverse operation. We can also square something. The inverse operation of squaring is square rooting. Let's have a look at these examples. X is the input. We then add 5 and the output is 10. Therefore, to go backwards, you have to subtract 5. So, to make X the subject, we will need to subtract 5 from both sides. X is going to be 5. Similarly, for the second one, the input is X. We then subtract 6 and the output is 10. To go backwards, we will have to add 6. For this one, we know X and 6 are multiplied together and the output is again 10. Therefore, to go backwards, we have to divide by 6. For the last one, we can see that the input again is X and it has been divided by 6 and the output is 10. Therefore, to go backwards, we have to multiply by 6. Now, you might be thinking that this is very easy and you don't really need the function machine. However, it will be very useful for you to understand these steps so that you can solve multi-steps question. For this one, we will see that they are very similar. Many people do find them confusing. The first thing we need to do is to look at these equations and think about what steps has X gone through. For the first question, our input is X. Think about whether X is being multiplied by A first or subtract B or divide by C. It's not hard to spot that X is first multiplied by A. You will have AX, then subtract B. Therefore, we'll have AX subtract B and then divided by C. So we will have AX subtract B over C, and the output is D. Therefore, to go backwards, our input is going to be D, and we have to multiply by C. That will give us CD, and then we have to add B. It will give us CD plus B, and multiply by A. Here we have to be careful because we are multiplying everything by A, and this is our answer. Let's now look at the second example. Again, we have our input to be X, and it's first being multiplied by A, and then it's being divided by C rather than add B first. It's because it's only AX over C and B is separate. However, over here it's AX minus B all over C. We will have AX over C and then we will need to add B. This is our output. To go backwards, our input is going to be D and then we will need to subtract B, then multiply by C. Here we have to be careful as well as it's C multiplied by D subtract B as a whole. Then we will have to divide it by A. Therefore, our answer is C in brackets D subtract B all over A. These two questions are very similar to the first question. There are only one extra step. We will need to first think about our input, which is X, and think about what happened to X. Is it being squared first or multiplied by A first? Let's try to multiply that by A, and we will get AX. And then if we square them, what would we have? Because we are squaring everything in the square, we will have AX all squared, and this is not true. Therefore, our first step is going to be squaring X. And that will give us X squared. And then if we multiply by A, we will have AX squared. Next step is going to be plus B, and we'll have AX squared plus B. And then we divide everything by C. So we'll have AX squared plus B over C. And that will give us the outcome. To make X the subject, we have to go back. And this time our input is D. We will first need to multiply by C. And then we have to subtract B. Divide that by A. We will have to square rooting our answer. In the end, that's going to be square rooted CD subtract B over A, and that is our answer. So it's important for us to try them out and see which one is correct. Let's look at the second one together. You know that X is squared first and then multiplied by A. After that, it's being divided by C and then added by B, and that is our output. To go backwards, that is our answer. So what would happen if X is in the denominator? Well, this is slightly different. The first step you will need to do is to rearrange so that x is not in the denominator. So what you can do is you can multiply both sides by what's in the bracket. So now you will be able to use function machine to make x the subject. So what we have here is, and it's being multiplied by m, subtract c, and everything is multiplied by d. And that will give us the outcome, which is a. Therefore, to go backwards, we will have x is going to be ma over d plus c, all in brackets. And that is our answer. Now, I would like you to try this question and see if you can work this one out. What about this question? Would you multiply both sides by nx? Why or why not? Have a go at this question and I will show you the answer in a minute. If you want to multiply both sides by nx, then you will have to multiply everything. Remember, this is in the bracket. You have to multiply the left-hand side by nx, and that will give you m plus nx times c equals to e times nx. But now you have x on both sides. Of course, you can rearrange and factorize to make x the subject. This will come later on. For now, I would like you to think of another way of solving this problem. When we are trying to make x the subject, we wanted to have x on one side and then everything else on the other side. Plus c in here does not have x in it. Therefore, what we can do is we can subtract c on both sides so that we'll have e subtract c on the right hand side. Now this is similar to the example we were working on earlier, and this is the answer. Now I would like you to try these two questions. Always think about what happened to x if you wanted to make x the subject. Function machine is always helpful, so do take your time to draw out the function machines. Remember, maths isn't a spectator sport. You can't get better at maths if you are only watching other people doing it. This is all for today. Well done for making through to the end, especially if you have done the questions yourself. Happy learning, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.